Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Vida Vibes Podcast. I am your host, Lisbet, and I am so excited for today's episode. Today's episode is going to be Reddit dating stories. So, this is something I love Reddit. I'm an avid Reddit user. I think it's a great platform because I think a lot of us get to just ask the most random questions that we have that we don't feel or we don't have a person in our personal life to ask to, so we turn to Reddit, and I just love the Reddit community. Obviously I think there's like sides of Reddit that aren't nice, but most of the Reddit stories when I go on Reddit for either dating advice or for my health anxiety girlies out there, it's very helpful. It is very helpful. I also love the people that go, you don't have that, you're just sick. Like if you have a sore throat and people take like, okay, this is like very exposing myself, but we're going to do it. So, I have health anxiety and I have had sore throats, and yes, I've seen other pictures of people's throat on Reddit, which now saying this out loud sounds so random, but it's the truth. And people go, dude, it's just a sore throat. Get over it. And I just love that. Thank you for being that person that tells us to us straight. Before we get started with those Reddit dating stories, where I'm going to read some stories and then give my advice, and I love giving advice. A lot of friends of mine come for me for advice. I go to a lot of friends of mine for advice. I've also evolved a lot in my life in terms of my healing journey. I don't think your healing journey ever ends. I am proud of where I am in my journey though. So I just, a lot of the advice is going to come from someone who has healed. And it's not, I think there's a lot of toxic advice out there from people that haven't healed and are giving dating advice from a place of hurt and pain. So hopefully, as I'm reading these stories, I've skimmed through 4 that I picked out that I think were really good. Some are female point of views, some are male point of views. And from skimming them really quickly, what I liked is that a lot of these are very generic. Doesn't feel like the right word to say, but it feels like things that a lot of us have had questions to when we're in the dating world. Context here too is I am also single, so I am technically in the dating world, but I'm not actively dating. So the reason for that is after my last long-term relationship was very hard breakup and recovery from that. Once I ended that relationship, I really spent so much time working on myself, discovering who Lisbet was and what she wanted and what made her happy, and being able to explore those parts of my life. And then I got to a point where I got pretty confident in me and I got to a healthy place emotionally and mentally. And then I moved states. And it was my first time moving away from family. And adjusting to that was very difficult too. And I did some light dating there, I want to say, but I was just so focused and there was so much happening on my life at the same time that I didn't really, again, I feel like in the last 4 years since I've been single, I have been in the dating scene, but not actively dating. You know, if there's some interest or potential in something, some form, way or another, I might try and explore that, but it's not me actively in dating apps and, going to dates, which is what I prefer. It's what I like. It's a stage that I'm happy in, and I like where I'm at in terms of dating, where I am so focused right now on my podcast and my YouTube and building a community and my goals for myself that dating really isn't in my radar, but I'm not opposed to it. Like if I were to meet someone today and we started dating, or there was an interest there, I would explore it. So I'm open to dating, but not actively dating. And I hope someone can relate to that. Before we get started into those Reddit stories, 2 things I want to talk about is 1, shout out to Jacob Banks. He is I want to say a singer-songwriter, indie, smaller artist. I got the chance to see him live in concert when I lived in Detroit with a really good friend of mine, Danny. Hi, Danny. It was very last minute. I was home in my apartment alone, and there's this app that Danny showed me called Game Time, which is great. So I really recommend that app for finding cheap tickets to concerts and basketball, football matches, all of that jazz. And I saw that he was in town, and I really liked Jacob Banks. I heard his songs, heard some of his albums. So I texted Danny. I was like, hey, Danny, do you want to go to Jacob Banks' concert? And she goes, yeah, because Danny is that friend that is down for anything, and I love Danny for that. So thank you, Danny, for coming with me. And we had such a fun night. He was a phenomenal singer. If you ever get the opportunity to see Jacob Banks, if he's in your area, I highly recommend you checking him out. His voice is out of this world. Like, that dude was meant to be a singer. And then second shout out before we get to the rest stories is my nail polish. This is the Light Slacker. It's my all-time favorite nail polish. It's from a female-owned Cubana from Miami. Her name's Kathleen Lights. She is pretty big. She was a beauty guru back in the YouTube beauty guru days, which I think is now making its comeback. But I love Kathleen Lights. I've been her biggest fan for years. I've been following her for, I don't know, probably 12, 13 years at this point, a really, really long time. And she made a nail polish brand, and it's absolutely amazing. I just love the whole Light Slackers team. They do really fun live videos, and their community is just so cool. I'm part of their Facebook group. I just love it. So this is Aperol Spritz, please, and it's from their new summer collection that drops. So if you're interested, go check it out before it's gone, because I think it's just seasonal. There's not promoted. I just generally love this nail polish brand. It really lasts a long time, and also I have to support my fellow Cubanas, you know what I'm saying? All right, so let's get started to the Reddit stories. We're going to start with the first one, and this is from a girl, and this is what she wrote. So in the headline it says, I don't think I'm pretty enough to be a girlfriend. And then she explained her story. I matched with this guy on Tinder, and he's so fine, beautiful, and I'm kind of ugly. So when he said he wanted me to come to his apartment, I was shocked that someone like that even wanted to be in the same room as me. But I came over, and of course, we only did nasty stuff and cuddled. I was very obviously a placeholder for his girlfriend, who he just broke up with. I've only ever been with one other guy earlier this week. Of course, all the first guy wanted to do was make out. I think it was good for me to get some experience since I'm 21 and hardly ever talked to a man. But I think they only wanted me because they thought I'd be an easy, because I'm ugly. And I kind of proved them right. And neither of them would ever want to date me because I'm not pretty. I'm cute in an ugly way and kind of hot at best, but people don't want that for a girlfriend. I can't stop crying, and I feel so gross. And am I just going to be a one-night stand / situationship for the rest of my life? So I'm pretty sure a lot of girls can relate to this topic of not feeling pretty enough. And I don't care how hot or how attractive you are. I think supermodels have had points in their lives that they don't feel pretty and they don't feel attractive. And I'm saying Naomi Campbell type of beautiful, where you're like, holy crap, whoa, she has not had a low self-esteem day in her entire life. She has. We all have, because it's really hard to not compare yourself to others, especially as a female in the day and age where we grew up in, where comparison, since you're a little girl, you're constantly being compared to the person next to you. And it's very hard and it's very challenging. And I think this is a story that a lot of us can relate to. So let's break it down into parts. So she's on Tinder. That's my first advice, is get off of Tinder. If you really want a serious relationship or someone that genuinely cares about you and doesn't just see you as a one-night stand or, a fun time, Tinder's not the place to be. Maybe there's people that have met on Tinder and are married and have kids now. Congratulations. Unfortunately, what we know of Tinder is it's the hookup app. It's not really serious. It's more casual dating. And if that's what you want, great. And if you want something more serious, some actual conversations to happen, get off of Tinder. So that would be my first thing to you. Second thing is, the older I get, the more I believe that this is true. The man has to love you more and like you more than you like him. And I don't think that comes from a toxic place. I think women give a lot. And I'm saying healthy women, good women. Like there's people that are gonna be like, well, there's really bad women and there's really bad men and there's really great men. So this is just saying from my personal experience and what I've seen is the man just has to love you a teeny little insy bit more than you love them. And it's in a healthy way. I mean, you still love them, but they just love you like a little bit more, a dash more of salt more. But for you to get to that point where you accept that a man loves you and is obsessed with you, and I'm thinking of Bridgerton because I just finished season 3, which I can't believe they left us in that cliffhanger after the carriage scene. Like, what the heck? But for you to get to a point to accept that a man is that obsessed and in love with you, you have to believe that yourself. And that is the hardest part about dating. Dating comes with a lot of self-doubt, and it requires you to look within when you're getting ready for dates or when you're putting an outfit together or when you're actually going to the date or you're at that specific date, to have this level of confidence in yourself to be, I am worthy of this, of being in the presence of this person. Like, they are lucky that I am here. I'm lucky that they're here as well. But you have to hold yourself to a high standard for other people in your life to also respect you. If you don't respect yourself, how are you going to expect someone else to do that for you? It's kind of, this is something I'm very passionate about, is you can't expect someone to fully love you, unless you fully love yourself. Because if there's parts and areas of you that you don't love, how can you expect someone to come in and make you love yourself for that? It's very difficult, and I don't think it should fall on anyone else. If you're insecure about the way that you look or about certain things about you, it doesn't matter how many times your significant other tells you, I think you're beautiful. I think you're the most beautiful person in the world. I just love that about you. I love blah, 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 blah. You're not going to believe it until you believe it. You know, there's always going to be this little voice in the back of your head are they being genuine, or are they just saying that to say that? So one thing that I think a lot of us should work on is our own self-value and learning to accept and love the things about ourselves. And it's a very challenging journey, and it's taken me years, and I'm still working on certain things about me that I don't fully love. But looking back at relationships that I've had in my life, I accepted the bare minimum because I thought that that's all that I deserved. And even now in therapy, I'm still working through self-love. There's certain things that I don't think I'm worthy of love. And that is something that I need to work on before I can let anyone in or fully in. Like I can be in a relationship right now, but will I fully be present in that relationship? Debatable. Because there's areas of me that I haven't even accepted or come to terms with or love about myself. So that would be one of the things that I highly suggest for you as I'm reading this. And you put, he's like really beautiful and I'm kind of ugly. That's your own self-doubt coming down on you. Did he even tell you that you were ugly? Maybe he doesn't even think he's as fine as you think he is. Maybe he has his own self-esteem issues. So when you start to say that about yourself, you're going to believe it. And it's going to be really hard for you to accept that someone else that is in your world, in your head, more beautiful than you are, that they're capable of loving you. So the other part of the story is you knew it was going to happen. So you got invited to his apartment and you went over. And I don't have, there's nothing wrong with one night stands. There's nothing wrong. If that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do. But it seems from the way that you wrote, you want a genuine connection with someone, and you want someone that takes you out on dates and that courts you and that finds you attractive and that you can build a relationship with. This is not that guy. And that's also where you have to ask yourself, am I okay with just being a one night stand? And if you're not, then don't go on that date. Then don't accept the one night stand from someone. And again, it comes with you holding yourself to these high values and high standards that you are expecting, because there is a pick and crop for everyone, right? If you want the one night stand, if you don't want anything serious, you can find that. If you don't want a one night stand and you want a serious relationship, that's a different road and a different path that you have to take. So after this initial time with this guy, I would highly suggest for you to look inward and think of how that made you feel. And when another situation presents itself of a one night stand, think of how you felt when that happened and make your choices based off of that, not based off of having this specific moment with this person just so you can have a moment where you maybe feel pretty and beautiful and loved and accepted, when that might not be the case. Because this person had just gotten off a relationship, so he's in pain, he's in hurt, he's in denial, he's in the stages of grief. And you have to be aware of that and know, am I willing to accept things for what they are, or do I really want something more serious? And then you also mentioned you're 21 and you don't have much experience. And I can relate to them. This is why I also picked this story, because I remember being 21 and some of the choices and things that I did was from this 21-year-old self that didn't value herself very highly and accepted the bare minimum from people. And those are things that you have to learn with time and realize that there's a lack of experience and some people are going to try and take advantage of your lack of experience. And that's why it's so important for you when certain situations like this happen, for you to look within and see what is it that you truly want from this person or this relationship or this connection. So you also continue to write here is, but I think they only wanted me because they thought I'd be easy because I'm ugly. And I kind of proved them right. And neither of them would ever want to date me because I'm not pretty. So a couple of things here. I don't know about the other guy because you didn't really go into that story very much, but the one that just got off a breakup, again, sometimes as women, because especially like me personally, struggling with eating disorders growing up and body dysmorphia that I still have and I'm still struggling with, I sometimes believed certain things about myself that people hadn't even told me. And I was letting my insecurities get to me so much so that I would put that in someone else. I would say, oh, that person doesn't like me because I'm not ugly. But they never expressed to me that I was ugly or that they didn't like me. And then there's also people in my life, who are just not going to be interested in you and you're not going to be compatible with them. And that has nothing to do with you or with them. It's just you guys aren't compatible and they're not your type and vice versa. So I would also challenge your own self-thoughts in that and maybe journal about it. Like, did this person express that they think I'm ugly and that they would never want to date me because of my looks? Or am I saying that because of my own internal battles and traumas that I'm dealing with? And I'm just putting words in someone's mouth. So I don't think you're going to be a one night stand or situationship for the rest of your life. I think you're 21 and there's a lot of growth that you have to go through. And it's very challenging. It's like shedding skin, like a snake sheds skin. So I would definitely take these situations that you were a part of and I would internalize them and journal about them and think about them and meditate on them and really try and pinpoint what and how that made you feel and how you would want to proceed with the findings that you discovered. Like, I don't like to be a one night stand. It didn't feel good. I didn't feel respected. Like all of these things, write that down. So that way you can reflect on it when the situation might present itself again. And then the second part I would advise is to work on your inner battles with yourself. And the only way for you to get to a point to accept that someone loves you and cares about you is for you to think that about yourself. And that takes time. And I don't have a solution or an answer to that because honestly, I'm going through that myself. All I can say is therapy is helping me and journaling has helped me a lot, and also time alone. So time to myself, time to reflect, time to think, and time to be kind. And it's retraining a lot of my thought patterns that I've had for many years and rewiring my brain to think differently. So I think you're going to be okay and you are going to meet the love of your life. And I'm hopeless romantic. And I do think we all have like that one special person for us out there. Reddit story number 2. And this is from a male POV. And the subject line goes, what makes an attractive man to talk to? And he wrote, okay, so I wanted to know what makes a man attractive to women from the perspective of a woman. I understand that a lot of women prefer personality and have some physical preferences, but I am genuinely lost as to what those qualities are. This isn't meant as a hit piece on girls. I just want to know because I would like to treat a girl well because it makes me happy to have a partner that I make smile. Maybe that's not the way I should approach it, but I love to make people smile. I think that's the way to approach it. So I am a 5'9" Mexican male, 22 years old. I work out / box. I like to illustrate and write stories. I try to take care of my hygiene, fashion, and have even been told I have genuinely nice fashion sense. However, I have absolutely no luck with girls. I can attract people, however, I shit the bed in conversations. I'm not particularly interesting from what I gauge, and girls tend to not care what I say or ignore me, even when I try to ask about them. So I'm at a loss as to what I should be doing. I'm taking every step to try, but I just can't do it, it seems. I approach confidently, I ask politely, and make an attempt to hear them. I think my issue is that I'm too earnest or too friendly, and it makes me boring. Is there anything I can do to make a better case for myself or to be more attractive / fun? First of all, shout out to you for, putting yourself out there in the internet and trying to better yourself and understand women's perspective from a kind point. Like, I don't think this was a hit towards women at all. I think it's just you trying to understand if you're doing anything wrong or if you could be doing anything better. Already there, green flag. I just love the way that you wrote this. It gave the vibe of I'm very in tune with myself. I'm very self-aware and I'm trying to be better and do better. So that's great qualities already. Another thing you wrote is I like to make people smile. You like to make people happy. That is so important. Understanding women and your partner, not just women, but in your future partner, understanding your future partner and being able to have a laugh even through tough times, because life is not easy and there's many challenges that are going to be presented, I think is so important. And another part of this that I want to add to is different women have different things that they find attractive, not just physically, but emotionally as well. And it's hard to pinpoint or to tell you exactly what a woman finds attractive, but I can give you a general sense of, what I think. And it's honesty, which you seem to have. It's the ability to not take yourself too seriously, kindness, being a gentleman, especially in this day and age, open someone's door, open the car door, be nice to your servers, be nice to the elderly. Like, these little qualities are so important. You take care of yourself, you illustrate and write stories. Like, how cute is that? Oh my God, you can write your future wife a freaking book, like a storybook. Oh my gosh, like, so cute. You have good hygiene, you have good fashion, and maybe you just haven't had luck with girls because you haven't found that girl that you're compatible with. So I would take every awkward, entre comillas, awkward moments that you have had with women as a way to learn, and don't take it too personal. I don't think it's personal. Just be like, okay, well, that person wasn't compatible for me. Next. And it really comes down to that. I don't think there's anything wrong with you. I just think that you haven't found a person that maybe you feel confident or comfortable with to be your authentic self. So I think that's the last point, is authenticity is so important. Maybe you're trying too much to be like a specific friend of yours or someone that you see that gets a lot of girls, allegedly, someone that gets a lot of girls. Maybe you're trying to be too much like that person and you're not being enough of yourself. So I would, similar to the first advice on Reddit, is journal about the qualities that you have about yourself and really, dive into those and embrace those and be able to see that I am worthy of someone's time and someone's love and appreciation. I just haven't found that person yet. And there's nothing wrong with me. And also, whenever you ask someone out and they say, hey, no, sorry, like, I'm not interested, or you're not really my type, don't take it personal. If anything, say, thank you so much for letting me know. because you have now given me the ability to get you out of my brain and move on and try and find my future wife or the person that you want to date or whatever it is that you're looking for at that given moment. But I think you have the right, state of mind. You're also 22 and it's like so young and just so much possibilities. So spend time with yourself, spend time discovering yourself and learning what you love and who you are. And the rest will come and evolve at its due time. That's another thing that I think a lot of us humans want is we try to rush things. And I've learned that there's a stage in everyone's life and everyone's journey is going to look differently. There's people that I went to high school with that are parents and that are married and that have bought houses. And then there's people that are not married and haven't bought houses. And, like we are all in different journeys. And I find that beautiful. So when I see someone's new marriage proposal or pregnancy announcement, I don't feel bad. I say, wow, that's so cool that we're all in different stages and we're all really growing and evolving as individuals. So there's nothing wrong with you. It's going to be okay. And I just love this one so much because you were so sweet in that one. So I hope that helps. And I hope it helps like other people out there. Third Reddit story, and we're going to do 4. So we're coming up to our last one. And I am actually loving this so far. So I hope you're enjoying it and I hope it's been helpful. All right. So the subject line for this one is went on 3 dates back days with the same girl where she asked me on all 3 and then says the next day she doesn't want to continue seeing me because there's no spark/physical connection. So again, this is from POV of a man. And the story goes as the following. Let me start out by saying I matched with this girl on Hinge. I am a male, 32 years old, and she is a female, 33. We start off the conversation well. After a couple of days of talking, I decided to offer her my number to take the conversation off Hinge, to which she accepted happily. That is great. That is good. If you like someone, take the conversation off of Hinge and try and meet relatively soon so you know if there's a connection there or not, because sometimes when you meet in person, you're like, ooh, there's no spark. Or talk on the phone first before even meeting in person. I think that's also a great way to gauge if you're compatible or not. Continuing. I wanted to say that was a Friday. Fast track to Sunday, we continue where we left off and talked all day. She asked me what I am doing towards the end of the day. I said thinking about what to do for dinner. She responds with dinner with me, ? I said, sure, if you would like to, absolutely. So we set up a time, met up for dinner later that night at about 8 p.m. Had amazing conversation and banter, ended the date when they were closing up because the lights were going off at 1 a.m. We went out to the parking lot to walk to our cars. I went in for a hug and then for a kiss, which then we proceeded to making out heavily for about 5 minutes. And then we both went on our way home, said we had a great night and a good night. The next day, Monday, we say good morning, how are you? Talking about throughout the day, everything is good. She admitted that she was so nervous to meet me and that she wanted to kiss me at the bar, but didn't know how I would feel about that and was so happy that I made the first move outside. So after all that good convo that day, I get out of work and she is on her day off. I start bringing up dinner. She goes, dinner with me again tonight at my place? Or are you going to make me ask you out again? LOL. I said, no, I'm not going to make that mistake again. I would love to see you tonight. Can I see you? She said absolutely and said she was going to order takeout and we can watch game 7 of the Oilers/Cankers game. I don't know what that is, guys. Sorry. So I went over. We had a good time just like the night before. I got there at 7 p.m. We had takeout. We watched the game, put on a stand-up comedy, and then a movie was cuddling and making out throughout the night, and then I left about 2 a.m. We are near the Boston area, so this is day 3. Tuesday, and was also a game of the Celtics/Pacers. That I know what is because the Boston Celtics beat the Miami Heat. But anyways, let's move on. She has diehard Celtics fans, and she mentioned earlier in the morning she gets tickets. We're going to, which I said she does not have to do all of that because expense. To which she replies, do you want to go with me or not? I said, of course I do. She then says, okay, we're going then. Fast track throughout the day. I get out of work, get home, get ready, head to her place to pick her up, and we drive to the garden. Everything is going good. We're holding hands, walking into the garden. She got really good seats, by the way, club seats, and we just begin to have a great night. Had a few drinks. We're kissing in the stands, holding hands, acting like we've been together for a while. We won game one in overtime, which was awesome. I really felt like I could be myself around this woman. I felt like she was bringing out the best of me, but let me not get off track. We both got a few drinks into us feeling good, got back in the car or making out. I bring her back to her place, go up to take a piss. That's hilarious, such a dude thing to say. We proceed to make out some more, then I left because she says it's time for bed, and she was a little more tipsy than I was, so that's why I was able to drive home. I would have stayed over if she offered. I get home, we both say goodnight, and this is where things turn. Now it's Wednesday. I say good morning. She says good morning. I'm hungover. I feel like, oh, I'm sorry. She's like, you're not. I am like, nope, just a little tired. That's all. I basically said at this point, I'm having a good time with you. I don't really want to entertain anyone else, so I don't feel like I really need the hinge app anymore. Not for any commitment, but just telling her that I'm not planning on talking or seeing anyone else. My eyes are on her and only her. That's so cute and healthy. Love that. She says she wants things already and is nervous to just jump right into things because she has been hurt by not getting what she put up in the recent with some dating experiences, so she's being cautious for trying to understand. She says she wants to continue seeing and talking to me. I said, great, I'm happy to hear that. She was getting into work that day, so understood she couldn't talk much, but I felt like she pulled back and is cold and distant. Because of our communication, I asked, is everything okay? And she said, yeah, I'm not feeling it today. And just a couple more cold responses, and I just re-asked, are you sure we're good? And then she said, I really don't feel well. That's why I'm not very talkative, but I also have been thinking, I don't think I want to continue seeing you anymore. I've been thinking about it all day. So like any person would, everything has been going great and there's no red flags or signs of going south. I asked what's going to happen. She said that I mentioned that there was a spark in the beginning. She didn't feel that. She's the one who wanted me to make a move on her. She's the one who asked me to date. She's the one who asked me on date 3 and initiated making out sessions. So I asked if we could talk after she got off of work. She said she doesn't think she's going to change her mind. She didn't end up, so I didn't blow up. But I said, all right, well, I didn't expect this out of you. I hope you find what you're looking for. Good luck. To which she gave me the cliche, you're an amazing guy. You check off a lot of my boxes. Yada, yada, yada. And then he says, it doesn't make any sense because your actions tell otherwise, but okay. Then she says, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not physically attracted to you. That's not everything, but it's a big part of it. It's been through the struggle before and I'm not doing it again. You're a great guy, just not for me. I find the whole thing to be an excuse and somebody else probably come back into picture ironically at the timing, but I don't, yada, 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 yada. So the whole point of the story is things were going great. You asked her to commit and she got scared. That's what I got from this. It happens. Again, I like the second story. I feel like a lot of these are lining up pretty nicely. I didn't plan this. Is don't take it personal. Some things are just not going to work out. And maybe she liked having fun with you. Like she liked going on dates. She liked certain experiences that were happening and she enjoyed certain things. And then the moment that you said, oh, I really want for this to be serious. Like I don't want to date anyone else or see anyone else. It scared her. And that's valid. That's personal and there's nothing that we can do to change that about someone. If someone's scared of that commitment or that next step, there's nothing that you can do. But it's a great way for you to say, ooh, no, like I'm in a stage of my life where if I meet someone and I really like them and the connection's there, I'm ready to commit. So it seemed like this person just wasn't on the same page as you were in terms of commitment. And also maybe she wasn't physically attracted to you. Maybe there was someone else that came into the picture. Maybe it was X, Y, and Z. Ultimately, what matters from this story is this person just did not want to be with you the same way that you wanted to be with her. And instead of leading you on, I think it was good of her and nice of her to just say, hey, I don't think this is going to work out. And I would like for this to like end and not proceed and string you along for months to come. And then tell you this after it's been months. So maybe she liked you in more of a friend aspect and she liked spending time with you. Maybe she was feeling lonely. Like there's so many things that could be the maybes of this. But ultimately what's important to you is this person's not interested in you. There's nothing wrong with that. And it's just your sign to move on and let them go. And be grateful that they said this earlier instead of leading you on for more dates or whatnot. So I'm sorry that happened. That sucks, especially when you actually like someone. And I know that I would love to like say it was something else and whatnot. But again, a lot of dating is not taking things personal and understanding your own self-worth and your values and seeing when someone doesn't see that in you and not taking it personal. Like I've learned that everyone's in a different healing journey in their life and there's nothing wrong with that. And we have to accept that and be able to walk away when we have to and come to terms that we're not compatible for everyone. And that's fine and it's going to be okay. And it's not the end of the world. And it doesn't make you a bad person or less attractive or, not wanted. It just simply means that that relationship wasn't compatible. All right, last story from Reddit. And then we're wrapping this up for today. The subject line is, he texts me first, but doesn't continue the conversation. Why? So this is a 29 male, 33 female. He often, and this is from the female POV, he often initiates a text asking how I'm doing or how my work is going. I'll respond followed by a question to keep it going. Then he asks hours to reply with a dry response that doesn't really carry the conversation. It seems like he either doesn't want to talk or isn't available to, so I leave it alone. Then he reaches out again a few hours later, and it's the same exact pattern. It's like he wants my attention, but not to actually have a conversation with me. The other day, he reached out 3 times to respond dryly each time. In person is better. He is always eager to meet with me, but it's mostly me carrying the conversation along while he simply answers my questions, answering and then bounces my questions back to me or asks me more surface level questions. We've met up 4 times now. Each time he prioritizes my convenience, remembers the little details in what I'm saying, refuses to let me pay even after I offer, lets me have the first/last bite, pays for my Uber if he thinks it's too late for me to take the subway. He's even offered to hold my purse when it's too heavy with camera equipment. This is why I'm so confused. What's giving? The different communication styles, or is he disinterested? Is he waiting for me to call him? I don't get it. Okay. So the reason I picked this one is because when I was skimming through, I was like, ooh, we've all been there. And there's many different things that could be going on here. We all have different conversations and dating preferences and dating styles. I'm more of a talker. Like I'd much rather you call me on the phone than us texting back and forth. I like to hear people's voice. I like to hear the way that you say certain things or talk about certain things. So I'm more of a talker. And there's some people that are more texters. They prefer to text. That's the way that they're more comfortable with chatting with people and like the whole dating scene. So we have to understand that there's different dating styles, just like there's different love languages. There's people that are more acts of service, more people that are physical touch, so on and so forth. So that's one. I would simply ask him, hey, do you prefer to talk on the phone or are you more of a texter? What's your preferred, talking style? And also there's different talking patterns. Like there's people that are more dry in text and they're just like, okay, bye. Like for example, my sister, she puts a period at the end of some of the sentences while she's texting. A lot of our generations nowadays would say, oh man, she's upset. She's angry at me. Like, what did I do wrong? But that's just the way she texts. So it could just be the way that he texts is more dry than in person. The other part of this conversation or this like topic, the story here is that, when you go in person, he's eager, he shows up, he does all these cool things, but there's a part of you that you also don't like because he doesn't really carry a lot of the conversations and is simply just like responding things and then like telling you the same question that you asked back to you. If you don't like that and if that's not your style and you just want to figure out like what's giving, like you put here, you have to ask him. So this is one of those instances where we're limited in terms of the advice that even friends or random strangers can give you, because that's one thing that you're going to have to face a fear that we all have, which is having like genuine conversations with people and asking him, hey, this is how I've been feeling about X, Y, and Z. I would like to know where things are heading with you, because if you would like this person and you want to continue seeing them, I would express that to them and then see what he says from there. From being in your situation in one other time where it was very wishy-washy, I would say, you have to explicitly ask this person what's giving, like what's going on here, and then based on what they tell you, figure out if that's something that you're okay with. Either like, hey, I'm kind of interested in you, but I don't know, like not really, but kind of. Are you okay with that kind of not really response? Or do you want someone that's like, yes, I'm obsessed with you, like I want to date you? That's up to you. So honestly, I would ask him what's up and then figure out from there if there's anything else further in this story, or if that's just the way that his personality is. But yeah, so, and that's another thing I would say to a lot of us is just be honest and just say it how it is. That's the hardest thing about dating, is that a lot of us want to be this perfect picture version of ourselves, which is very unrealistic. And we're not all perfect and beautifully curated creatures, and we're going to mess up, and it's going to eventually happen at one point or another. So stop trying to be perfect and just be yourself. Because ultimately the real you is going to end up showing up one day or another. So might as well it be, when you first meet instead of, years later. So I really loved doing these Reddit story things. This was actually so much fun. I hope it was helpful. And I think the stories that I picked out were pretty relatable to a lot of us. So that's why I did that. And I loved some were female, some were male point of view. So it was for the girls and the gays. Well, there was not really the gays because there weren't really any stories about my gay friends, but maybe I'll try and find some next time. But this was fun. So I hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much for joining me in this episode. It was more chill vibes and I really, really liked it. And this was really fun. So I will see you guys on the next one. I hope you have a beautiful rest of the week. Okay. Bye. Adios.